Challenges of petrol scarcity, cash crunch resolved. Supreme Court stops old Naira notes deadline implementation. No candidate will get Buhari's 1.9 million Kano votes of 2015, says Dati Baba Ahmed. Also tonight on Politics HQ, Turkey, Syria earthquake death toll nears 10,000 as rescuers race against time. Tunisian president dismisses foreign minister. Welcome to Politics HQ. I'm Sulaiman Aledeh. Tonight, architect Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri, Labour Party candidate for Lagos State Central Senatorial District, and Dr. Adekunle Rufai Omwaje, the national chairman, Action Alliance, will be my guest tonight. For nearly 24 years, Lagos State has been led by the same political groups with different names and faces, with a new wave of political participation mounting in the country and the involvement of more people in electoral processes. More politicians are standing up to be counted. Lagos State Central Senatorial District is one of the most potent districts in Lagos State and Southwest politics, and those involved are known to be people with political might and resources. Despite all of these, the candidate of the Labour Party has thrown his hat in the ring for a showdown against a party that now sees the state as its home ground. Who is this candidate battling for a place in Nigeria's higher legislative chamber? What are his plans, and how does he hope to usurp the APC in Lagos State? Abiodun Abubakar Dabiri is my guest. He's a Labour Party candidate for Lagos State Central Senatorial District. Good to see you, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I'd like to start by asking, because quite a lot happening in the country. People are talking about scarcity of two things: petrol, liquid, raw cash,
money.
I don't know if that is also a problem with the campaign so far.
Absolutely, it's a problem with the campaign, and it's a problem for everybody, because you have issues of logistics. You know, a lot of people at the grassroots level only believe in cash. You understand? And we have our people at the wards. You know, so for their logistics, they have to take transport, they have to go to meetings, they have to plan ward engagements. You know, they have to pay for drinks for when they have a meeting, and it's all cash based. Some of these little transactions that we make, they don't even want to talk about using electronic money transfer. So it's a bit of a problem that the campaign is having to deal with and coming to terms with the reality of the situation.
Well, again, before we delve, dig in deep,
yeah.
The news now is that there's a Supreme Court, ruling saying, for now, you can use the old Naira notes as well as the new Naira notes. You think that just might change the course of things, maybe in the next few hours from now?
Well, what you find is that even the old notes are stuck in the banks now.
Oh.
The old notes are stuck in the banks. You can't get any sort of notes unless maybe by tomorrow the banks now revert to giving people the old notes. If they do have them, then that will bring some succor into the day. Some transactions can actually go on. So that would be very nice.
Now let's talk about your ambition. It's quite a daunting task, and time was before now. We always talk about two-horse race, and your party has, quite frankly, with your presidential candidate and some others like yourself, have made what Nigerians have called some audacious statement in our politics. So how is the Labour Party in Lagos?
As you know, the Labour Party in itself, the Obidati movement, it's like an idea whose time has come, and it can't be stopped.
It can't be stopped?
It can't be stopped. Look at the trajectory. We're just 6 months, about 6 months, and look at what we've achieved in 6 months. First they said we're two people tweeting in a room. Then they said we didn't have structure.
Oh, you heard that?
Oh yes, absolutely. And then later they said, now they're saying we won't get 1%. We won't get 1% in Kano. But at least they gave us 1%. So the thing about it is that, look, regardless, whatever the political structure in place before that movement came, it's outdated. And the people are responding to what they believe works for them. The people of this country know that they can certainly do better than they're doing. That goes without saying. They can do better. And they see in our presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, they see someone who speaks their minds. They feel his pulse. They see the sincerity in his words and his actions. And they buy into that idea. So that in itself, I think that whatever, the most constant thing in life is change, especially for society. The society will change. It may not change as fast as we want, but its time would come. So I believe that the time to change our country has come, and our people are keen into it.
And is this the same kind of, feeling here in Lagos? Because, well, that's on the national scale, talking about the obedient movement. Here we are in Lagos, and you're moving into Lagos Central Senatorial District.
Yes.
And for quite, a number of people, they still think that the traditional politicians that have always held sway in Lagos seem to be very much on ground.
Well, I wouldn't say they are not on ground. I would focus on what affects me, us. If you look at the trajectory in the last couple of years, last 3 years, everybody will accept that there has been an awakening of the civic responsibility movement of people in Nigeria and in Lagos State in general. We had the COVID route, where for the first time people realized that their leaders were not being sincere to them, that they were hoarding palliatives, food in warehouses while people were hungry. Then we moved past that and we got to the NSAS, where people were coming together to say, we are tired of victimization. The police are victimized. The young people came to say, the police are victimizing us. And we know how that ended. So this is just people coming together to say, we can't do this anymore. It's an awakening. It happens in every society in the world. This is just a time for Nigeria. And we're going through our own motions now. Yes, definitely the old order would not want to change. They will always try to maintain the status quo. But you can't stop a movement.
And when you go around, does this same feeling or idea resonate with the people? When you speak to people within the Lagos Central Senatorial District, do they understand what you just highlighted?
Absolutely. Let me tell you what I discovered. Each time we go out, the obedient movement and Labour Party is organic. We have pockets of people everywhere. Every day I get calls from people who say, we're in this place, we're meeting because of on Labour Party, and we want people to come and talk to us. So we have them everywhere. We have them everywhere. Everywhere you go, look, there's not a household in Lagos Central District, and even in Lagos State, that you won't find at least one obedient person. Look, what are the options? The difference is clear as day. It's almost like there's no option. People want a better country. They want better, competent, capable leaders. They want accountability in government. They want a president who can stand up to do the work. He has the energy to do the work. So when you have this kind of situation, the people already make up their own minds. All we are doing is bringing them together and say, look, we're here for you. We feel your pain. You understand? We're on the same page.
And how is the bringing them together going for you? Because it's not enough to say, we understand that we need change. We understand that we need a vibrant leadership. But the understanding should transcend that agitation and say, the only way for me to get this actualized is for me to be maybe someone who is registered to vote. So that's what can unlock the feeling. So when you have this conversation with the people, do they also know that their card on the day must be with them?
You see, absolutely. Absolutely, they know this. They're going out to, despite the frustration. You should see the joy on their faces when they get their PVC. They're happy to get the PVC because they know that that's a step towards the country that they desire. I think that this was bound to happen in this country. It was just a matter of when it would happen. Look, the last elections in Lagos State, how many votes, how many PVCs did we have in Lagos? Almost 5 million at that time. How many votes does the ruling party used to win? Maybe 700. The difference between theirs and that maybe is 200-300. It's almost barely 10% or more than 10% of the total PVCs available. Even the total PVCs available at that time could change the course of the election. But now you have additional close to 2 million new PVCs. Why are people going out to take their PVCs? It's a sequence of events. The COVID, the NSAS. Now people know that the only way to assure to get the country that they desire is through the ballot.
I'd like to explore the part where you say, and now this. Now this, you mean scarcity of petrol and naira?
No, you see, some of these things, we don't want to, I try not to overplay it. I think that, if there wasn't an election and we had scarcity, we'll probably not be making as much noise. Yes, we feel the pain. But in the last 8 years of this administration, fuel scarcity is a thing that is on and off. When we don't even have it, we are wondering that, are we okay? Sure, everything is fine. You start wondering, we haven't had scarcity in a while. But it's all adds up to say that, look, we can do better as a people and as a country. We can do better.
Now speak to us about Lagos Central. What do you understand by that, catchment area, Lagos Central Senatorial District?
Well, Lagos Central Senatorial District, it's geographically, it covers Etiosa, it covers Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, Surulere, Apapa, 5 local governments. Now,
you know how politicians speak when they give them a position. They say, the juicy ministry. It looks. Will I be wrong to say that's the juicy senatorial district?
No. Well, no. I wouldn't.
No, because looking at the areas you just listed,
yeah,
it looks as if those are the business area of the state of Lagos.
Yes, we have. It may have the highest number of enlightened voters who have access to the media. They have access to the media. They're bombarded by information about choices, choices of the candidates, choices of the parties, whatever has happened. They're bombarded with information, but it also has pockets of areas where you have the extremely low-income people who are also desirous of having a better deal from the government. And it's our duty to step in there and let them know what choices are available to them, which is what we're doing.
And when you speak to these, to the people of your area,
yeah,
do they understand that you're not going for governorship? Because sometimes the demands that they bring before you just might be demands meant for the executive arm of government.
You're absolutely correct. I've had cause to explain to them that our work is legislation. And I give them 1 or 2 examples of the kind of problems that I will be going there to solve. Now, a classic one is when you look at, there's a lot of development in Lagos Central, especially on the Etiosa axis. And you have, because of urbanization, the government wants to develop a place and people are living in shanties and they go and render them homeless. Now, I explain to them, look, we must have a law that says that the government cannot render you homeless because of urbanization. They have to provide you alternative accommodation. So they can relate to that. That's legislative work. So it's a law that will affect people everywhere in the country, not only Lagos Central. Should there be cost to develop a place, government must be compelled to provide alternative accommodation. Another issue is the issue of estimated billing. This legislation can do. It has been a recurring thing in this country, And
you're talking about the power sector now?
Absolutely. No, I'm not. Now I'm talking about it in terms of legislature that ensures that people pay for what they use. The discos do not exploit the citizens by allowing them, billing them. It's almost like a mafia kind of thing, the way the discos operate. I've felt the pain of that. I was getting bills of 80,000 naira. The minute that I struggled and got a meter, I was down to 2025. Absolutely. So people are feeling that pain. So these are some of the low-hanging fruits that once a new legislature comes in that has the wishes of the people at heart, they can go in there and quickly make these laws that ensures that people get relief.
Because come to think of it, it looks to me that representative democracy should also include feeling the pulse of your people, your constituents. And as you said, that also should have been what the representatives and the Senate should have taken into account to protect the people from exploitative business
Absolutely.
activities.
I tell you what the people are demanding. They are demanding that if you get their vote, then you must come and see them. And when I do go and see them, they tell me, oh, we hope that now that you're coming because you want us to vote, after voting, we will still see you. And I tell them this. I tell them, look, whatever is going to happen in this constituency is going to come from you. We're not going to impose projects on you. We're going to ask you, what do you want? If there's a budget for a constituency project for you, we're going to ask you what you want and do what you want. There must be participatory democracy. You can't just be imposing things on people. Now, the more the people feel that they're a part of this process, you will see how democracy will thrive. So in the long run, Nigeria will benefit for it. Nigeria will benefit for it. Why do you see so many people now encouraged to take part, get their PVC and vote? We must thank INEC for doing an amazing job. People are beginning to feel that their votes will count. And because they feel that their votes will count, they are encouraged to go get their PVC and be part of the process. So the minute we can have people involved in recommending and saying that this is the project we want, and the project is done by government, then it becomes participatory. And it will thrive. Then democracy will take root and we start to grow as a nation.
You know, it's one thing to get enlightened, it's another to have a people who are willing to listen to and act on such knowledge or enlightenment. I'm saying this because one other sore point has to do with how best the people will internalize the essence of getting our democracy right. What I mean by this is looking at people who willingly participate. Now, speaking of participating democracy, leading up to this election, how much of sensitization do you think your party and even other political parties have done for the people? Because it's one of the cardinal objectives of political parties to sensitize, educate the voter.
Yes, the Labour Party on its own have put in a lot of effort into trying to make people understand what that the party stands for. Even our presidential candidate too has done a lot to try and let people understand him, his person, his policies, what he thinks he will do when he gets there. Now, I must say this, that the change we seek may not happen as fast as we want, but there are little milestones that once we cross them, people begin to gain confidence. It's a matter of confidence. For the first time, the citizens of Nigeria are having more confidence in the electoral process of their country. And they believe that for once, their own wishes through the ballot will come to fruition. They want to elect their own president for once. So it's very good and very encouraging. And I'm sure that if we continue on that trajectory, in the next decade, we will begin to see a different country. Because then more people, I hope that by my contesting, more people will be encouraged to come into the political space. The moment that people of like minds like me become a critical mass in the political space, then it's a natural progression. Our country will begin to change.
It's about, well, just less than 3 weeks to the election. And now let's speak about INEC, preparations for the elections. And INEC has already assured the people that the talk of non-availability of fiscal cash, well, has been sorted with the central bank. But how hopeful are you with the BVAS and the Electoral Act, which will be the first time Nigerians will be going into a major election, testing that particular good given to us by the Act?
Well, I will tell you that, first I'll start with the issue of the Electoral Act.
Good.
The problem, the Act is an amazing piece of legislation, and it has set this country on the path to greatness. We must thank the legislature and President for assenting to that bill and INEC adopting it, coming up with it. Now, regarding the beavers, whilst it's been tested in Osun State, and the elections there were judged to be free and fair, and even the judgment of the tribunal that came out, INEC has come out to say that the material, that the information that the tribunal requested from INEC was incomplete, that there was no overvoting. That's INEC's standpoint. We'll leave that for the courts to decide right or wrong. But we can see that there's a lot of confidence in the electoral process. A lot of confidence. I mean, yes, there are some naysayers, and it will not be 100%, but the process will correct itself as we go along. You understand? We shouldn't expect it to be 100%. But if we're having 90%, 95%, I think that's fair. And then as we go along...
And sorry to cut you there, and do you also have that same amount of fairness within the political space? Are you being immobilized? Is there an attempt to ensure that your campaign doesn't actually freely go through the nook and cranny of the state?
Well, we can't, whatever we do, we cannot take ourselves out of our environment. We must understand the environment in which we operate. So there are so many little things played by one party against the other, especially the ruling parties, because they control the government. For example, most of the banners of other political parties are pulled down. So people who are not involved or politically, if they don't understand, they just think that we're already seeing APC posters, are they not campaigning? But they pull them down.
Did you see the picture of goats eating up some posters? So, because sometimes the job might be goats.
No.
Because I saw the video of goats eating up some posters.
No. Those posters are too much for the goats. Those not posters and banners. You put them today, in 2-3 days, you can't see anyone. They're all taken down. You understand? So these things, you can pay attention to that. I don't think one should really pay too much attention to that. We are not paying attention to them. We are focusing on what we need to do.
But it does cost money, a lot of money to print those banners and posters.
Yeah, it does cost money, but I won't tell you how we've circumvented that, because then they'll come after us on that level. So I won't tell you, but we've been able to circumvent that. We've been ingenious in terms of advertising our candidates and our party in a way that they can't take them away. That cannot be hacked. So we've gone beyond the issue of taking down posters and looking for other ingenious ways to reach our people, and it's working. It's working. And
are you hopeful? Politicians are incurable optimists. How hopeful are you? With your performance, talking about your party's performance in Lagos so far in terms of the campaigns?
Well, we haven't gone to election yet. We're still preparing. We're doing a lot of work.
And that's why I said in terms of the campaigns, perhaps the campaigns, you should be able by now to feel the pulse of the reception, the conversation, the town halls, and series of meetings you have with the people.
Well, we're hopeful that we would have a very good showing in this election. I am one person that I would rather be understated. It's the result that would matter. Whatever I say now is the result that would matter. You understand? But everywhere we go, the reception has been tremendous. It has been tremendous, really. I think that this election and the way Labour Party has conducted it, and it will go down in history. I see a historic moment for our country. That's how confident I am. I see a historic moment.
And for President Buhari, so far, his conduct, his utterances, body language, and the likes, so leading up to this election, what would you say?
Well, I think the president has tried to be a father to the nation and tried to be neutral. He's tried to put up a neutral front and try to say that he's trying to leave a legacy of an election that can be adjudged the freest and fairest in our nation. That's the legacy he's trying to leave, and he's trying his best. I hope that he can achieve it, because if he does, then he sets us on a path to greatness, because at least those who have made their life's calling subverting the will of the people would not have had their way, and that's a whole lot.
And lastly, security, and we see that specifically the police is making some adjustment in its operations and postings. Lagos State, your state, has a new commissioner of police before election. So how does that make you feel now that that has happened?
You know, one thing is, don't bother yourself too much about situations you cannot control. Focus on your own objective. Labour Party, as a party, we have no control over the postings of the Nigerian police. We expect that whoever is posted here will be free and fair and conduct the affairs of the state in accordance with the law. So we're just focused on our grassroots door-to-door mobilization and trying to ensure that our party has the best showing in this election.
Abiodun, Abubakar, Dabiri, many thanks for coming on Politics HQ.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here.
Best wishes.
Yeah.